what? Aha. 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 Okay, I ain't gonna lie. The first day were rough. I did not meditate at all. All I did, I was trying to make my mind shut the hell up. And it doesn't work because I was creating this competence between me and my mind, which is creating a competence between you and yourself. So you're only trying to force things within you, and forcing never works. So at the moment I was trying to force myself to stay centered and not be mind scattered and shattered into every place. Like I went from being shattered, like just sit down and waste my time, like being shattered, thinking about stupid shit, that things like I'm gonna do, or I need to do, or I should do, but it doesn't matter because at the moment I'm not doing it. I'm putting the moment into the moment that I'm putting right there
Have to be.
just for meditation. But being a big procrastinator, it's very easy to do the things, well, hard to do the things in the time you actually put them to do. So I went from that into trying to center my mind here and don't let any thought run out. I blocked each and every single thought there was in my mind. That gives me a fucking headache. That gives you a headache. It's like trying to take all that things and putting them into zero. Like System Error 4004. It doesn't work like that. Because you start creating this aura of, I need to control this. And it's a very big, heavy vibe that you can feel. So it most likely it will just give you a headache. So that's what it happened. I was pissed off that I couldn't make it, that I couldn't force myself into not thinking, and I went back to sleep. So being back to sleep pissed off, I was also getting sleepy pissed off. But what caught my attention was, that state in which you are before falling asleep completely, that you have like one feet in your bed and the other feet like in whatever galaxy is. I noticed that after the nonsense I always thought every night in order to fall asleep, because I don't know if all people does it, but I always think nonsense that I never remember, because that's just bull crap. This is just like dialogues or stuff that happened during the day, or stuff I want to do and stuff like that, in order to forget what my day was and being completely peaceful and actually fall to sleep. So after that, I noticed that I wasn't pissed off anymore, and it was nothing was there. Like that window of opportunity, that fraction of millisecond before falling asleep completely, I noticed there was not the shit that I usually think of before going to sleep. There was no necessity of control, and I was not thinking about whatever nonsense I usually think, because whatever thing I need to do, or whatever thing I want to do tomorrow, I was not thinking about anything that happened during the day, anything that I need to do the next day. So I was like, oh man, this is it. I died. I just completely passed out. That gave me an insight. So the next day I was trying to rationalize myself into create that state again, and that didn't work. It only gave me more headaches, because you cannot do that. You cannot face thoughts with thoughts. Like you're trying to create a world. You're yourself in this side and your mind in the other side, and there's a completely whole army like shouting and stuff, which is thoughts, and you only create like death and destruction and headaches. So it makes no sense doing things in such a way. And I think the audios will be all scattered because I cannot hold my hand steady. How? Oh. So I started to think sequentially my way into that feeling. So finally, I was just like, oh fuck, I surrender, I cannot make this. And I went back to sleep again. After doing that and noticing that anything have changed, because I felt that I was closer. I was closer because I knew what I saw and watched and observed in a way. So I knew where I should go to. Let me to lead myself towards that. And I was like, oh, this piece of cake, it's easy. But it wasn't. You cannot... Yeah, I already explained it. So I just surrendered. I surrendered and went back to sleep. Pissed off again. So, because I couldn't do it, I went back to sleep and I tried to look that window of opportunity again in order for me to have a better understanding and correcting the mistakes that I did to make it the next time. All was very logical, everything very logical. So you could guess why I didn't get it. I had a glimpse over how the things work, but I wasn't putting the focus in where it should belong. You know what I mean? Like, I noticed how it was. I noticed how it works, and I wanted to trick myself into creating that sensation again. It is not gonna happen. Because I was putting thoughts over thoughts. So by the time, like, in bed, laid down and everything, trying to search for that millisecond again and to watch it again, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't fall asleep. You cannot do it if you are just bending over what can happen and what you need to happen. You will always have in your mind that you need that thing to happen and you want it to happen, and at the same time you're not letting it happen because you are trying to make the things happen the way you want it to happen, but you are not allowing. So I couldn't fall asleep, and I was like, oh fuck, this is ridiculous. I surrender. And by surrendering, when I was falling asleep again, I noticed this millisecond again in which all this crazy shit happened. And I was like, this is it, I got it, I get it. And died again. But I took two insights out of that. The first one I already told you, and the second one is that you can watch yourself. When you surrender and give out the necessity of control, you can watch. You can observe things happening because you are not taking a side with yourself. You are not reinforcing the side of yourself that needs things to be done the way it needs things to be done. So you are allowing to happen, and when you are allowed to happen, you can observe things for what they are. And by observing that, I had this permanent insight. That's what people mean by let it go. Like all this crazy shit you see out of there, like, oh, just let go, life have to be peaceful, just let go of the worries, it's easy, it shouldn't be hard. Yeah, it actually is easy, it shouldn't be hard. But I was, all that time I was like, how the fuck do I let go? How? it is just that. You're trying to put more things into the coding. You're trying to see way past the coding, like something that is behind the coding, which is not your responsibility to see. You only have to see things for what it is and not hold on to them, because those things are not you. You are not the shit that you're gonna say to your pal. You're not that's something that girl told you. You're not how would your neighbor think if you did such a thing, or you're not the mind chemical reaction of your partner. You're not nothing of that, or what you need to do, or what you need to cook, or what you need to clean, or what you need to attend to. You're not that. So why holding on to your stuff that are not you? And that's how you learn to meditate correctly. There are a lot of techniques of meditation, but basically it's watching yourself. Because when you surrender and give out the necessity of control, you can watch and observe yourself without taking side of you, with yourself towards what you want. That's what people mean by letting go. And you can watch yourself. And once you can watch yourself, you can meditate. Wherever you are. Wherever. Doesn't matter if there's a lot of people screaming, there's a lot of people shouting. Doesn't matter the method you pick, you will meditate correctly. Because there's a lot of methods. Like the basic one, I did started with the basic one, which is Gaia, the one that you observe your unconscious patterns that you always do, which is your breathing. Just that, like, make yourself conscious of the unconscious patterns that you use on a daily basis. And it was too easy, like, not necessarily too easy, but it was too simple of a concept to me to explore. So I did wanted to do something more difficult. That's why I got into this one. Like, I did not know what people meant by letting go and watching yourself and creating this second instance that watch over the thoughts. So I tried to force myself in my way, rationalizing everything into it. And it's just easy. This is the method that I use, by the way, right now. The first one, being a young guy, it was like, imagine like yourself when you have the apps menu and the history of the apps. Those are your thoughts. They appeared, but you decide whether to discard them and skip them or not. Like, you have them there, they appear, boop. But you can always swipe right or swipe up, however your cell phone works, and it's gone. So I created this whole menu in my mind, and whenever the thought appears, it's like, okay, I'm thinking in this dancing squirrel with a little white shirt. Instead of saying like, oh, he be trying getting that, let me see him try and getting that. I just like, oh, that's interesting. Gone. Like, you create in your mind the image of that thought appearing in a rectangle is no longer you, because you are not your thoughts. If you can see them that way, you're not your thoughts. If you were your thoughts, you couldn't be able to notice them from distance. You couldn't be able to notice them at all. If you were your thoughts, you couldn't see them. So that's what I do. It is very easy. And if thoughts are trying to pile up, I just like swipe, and they're gone. And the rectangle thing is effective because you're not letting them take over your whole mind. It's just a fraction. So you're keeping them under control. But it also have a sense of control in it. So the other thing that most people usually talk about is this letting go by the river. I didn't do it because I thought it was too hippie to be sincere with you, to hippie. But like I started doing it because it was actually harder than the other one. It's not necessarily harder because it doesn't have to be harder, but it was more challenging because I should have more intense focus into letting go and not let myself get consumed and affected over those things which are not me. So I have to stay more grounded into the knowing that I'm not my thoughts and that I can let them go and go back into be me. So that was the most challenging part. So I started to adopt that and I started to apply it, and it was actually pretty good. Like, if your mind scattered like me, like there were a few times in these 2 months of meditating. I say 2 months because it wasn't like the whole month just meditating. I couldn't do that. I started very, very slow, like 1 day yes, 1 day no, or 2 day no's, 3 day yes, something like that. And by the point in which I'm in, it is imperative to meditate. It is almost like a necessity, because when you don't meditate, I couldn't help to notice that I started wasting more time. You waste more time, you start to give in more into your easy dopamine triggers, like this video you like on YouTube that doesn't have nothing to do which you are currently doing in your life, but you like wanna have like a quick bust. It is not always a laugh. You do not always laugh, but like you want to have this peak. So I couldn't help to notice that I was less effective in my work, and also more foggy and giving towards whatever gave me pleasure during the day. So I kept this vicious cycle of like, oh, let's see an episode of Naruto right now. So I see the episode of Naruto and like, oh, let's 20 minutes of studying, and oh, let's grab a bite to eat. You grab a bite to eat, and while you grab a bite to eat, like, why not see an episode of Naruto 2 to enhance the experience? Because you're eating, so eating doesn't let you study at the same time, so why not? So that's what I do. And I ended up just working 2 hours a day, or less, or nothing. So it's very helpful if you're a person like me. And it's also indispensable. It becomes something that you not like need, but actively want to do and improve, and want to scale too, because you can scale this like towards manners that I've just experienced twice, but I'm gonna let you know that. I don't think I should let you know that because that's kind of personal, and maybe not all the people believe in that stuff. I was atheist, so it's very weird to me accepting this too. But I had this two very weird, crazy experiences in which I could feel, I don't know, man, like I went very happy. I was very happy, like nothing could ever bring me down, and I was going into a harsh environment. At the time I decided to meditate, and I was going through a harsh environment every single day, which was my university, when everyone takes advantage over anyone, and nothing could bring me down by the time. But like I stopped meditating and I stopped growing that because I was kind of a little bit afraid of letting myself filled up with other ideas that didn't resonate with me at the time. So I shut that door up but I'm trying to do it now because I couldn't help to notice that the focus was going down like the stock market in the 20th of May with the coronavirus crisis. So yeah, when the shit up, you cannot do what I did. You cannot force yourself into having this meditative state of mind. You cannot force yourself into not thinking at all. You just have to allow, surrender, but also do not give in into those things that are not you. That's it. Bye bye. If you like it, because I'm thirsty.